Hello and welcome everyone to the Women's Empower Network. I am so excited to have Sandra here this afternoon with us, and she has a really inspiring story. I can't wait to share her with you. So Sandra, would you start and tell us a little bit about who you are and this journey that you've been on?
For sure. First, I just really want to say thank you so much for seeing me and having me come and be in front of your audience. It's such an honor and such a pleasure. And I am very, very much in gratitude for that. So thank you. Wow, where to start? Uh, well, it all happened way back when. I feel very much like the hillbilly TV show when I'm saying that. Anyway, I'm a small town girl, born and raised in a national park in Canada, Jasper National Park. You may have heard of it, you may not have. Beautiful, beautiful area. I always thought that it was like literally, it was such a gift of God to be able to be born and raised in such a beautiful place. And even though I use the word and terminology gift of God, I am not a practicing religious person. I am very much metaphysical, very much spiritual. And through my life, all kinds of really interesting small things happened. And a big thing happened. One of the big things that happened was I was injured stepping off a stepladder in 2000 and I think it was 2001. And it literally changed my life. It stopped me dead in my tracks. I dislocated both sides of my pelvis. And you didn't even know that this part of this, right? Um, and it took about 16, 17 years of dark night of the soul, quite literally, where I continued to have all kinds of injuries and things. And during this, I attempted to get my life in order, meaning I attempted to live life. I'm an avid mountain biker. And so I started out on my exercise bike again, 2 minutes at a time, worked my way up to like an hour, 2, 3 hours on a mountain bike, all down single track over routes and all sorts of things. However, I kept having these big crashes. And during these crashes, so remember, this started with a dislocated pelvis in 2000, 2001. In 2016, I literally crashed to the point where I literally had broken my pelvis. It was a sits bone break. So it wasn't the major, holy cow, you're in the big brace or anything. However, it was a broken pelvis. It took me out of commission. I had to learn how to ask for help because I was totally out of commission. And uh, about 6 weeks later, broke my collarbone. About 8 weeks after that, froze my whole shoulder on that same side. So that whole right side was out of commission. And now I couldn't ride my bike, which was my passion, my life. And during that, I really started to reach into the oracle cards, and I was drawing a card a day, getting all these super powerful answers that just were life changing in the moment and really had me understanding that there was something bigger in store for me. And in that process, because I stepped into that, the divine guidance truly came in that said, okay, you need to stop and look at what you're doing with your life because there is a bigger purpose in your life. And I love that I've now got the opportunity to share so much of that. And in that process, two very powerful mantras came in. One is called the I am open mantra. The other one is the I am love mantra, which I will love to share with you in just a moment. Having said that, the I am open mantra was one that really helped me to understand that there was so much more to life out there and that I didn't have to have expectations or limitations. And we had a brief conversations about comparitis, and I was able to step out of comparing myself to everybody else. And then with that I am love mantra, I really started to understand what on earth I was doing by what I was saying to myself and what I was thinking and what I was saying about myself to others. And when I started to recognize that and start stopping saying that, other things started to fall in place. I began to do some oracle card readings called soul readings, which are very in depth. And I'm the type of reader that doesn't pick up the card and read the words. I actually tap into the energy of what the people are, what's on the card, and what wants to come through the chakras for them. And I began to notice something that so many other people were like myself, and they were thinking that it was outside things that was causing their world to go awry, when in reality it was inside. So that was really the beginning of my trajectory of wanting to be of service to people and really help them. So thank you for letting me go blah at you.
No, I love it. I love it. It's so powerful. And something you said earlier, and I'm really looking forward to hearing the answer, that there's a difference between I love me and I love myself. Tell us more about that.
For sure. That's part of the I am love mantra. Uh, I think maybe what I'll do, if you're open to this, is I'm going to breathe our way through this so that you can actually feel the differences in the two. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So if you are not driving, feel free to close your eyes with this. If you are driving, have a listen or come back, please. So I am open. Actually, I'm going to stop that. That's the first mantra. I'm going to do it the I am love. I am love. I am loved. I am loving. I am lovable. I love me. I love myself. I am divine love. We are divine love. And so it is. Were you able to feel the difference there between the me and the myself? It's almost as though you're making a commitment when you say myself. Me, it just feels like it's I can love me. I can love me because I'm doing this. I can love me because I'm doing that. But do I love myself as I'm doing these things? Which is a whole different thing. I have this beautiful client who's been working with me for about 2, 3 months, and she told me just in this last call with her that she's gone from being actually incapable of looking at herself in the mirror, period, to actually being able to say in the mirror to herself that she loves herself. That's how big a transaction or transformation, if you will, this I am love mantra provides. It's just so powerful.
That is so beautiful. I just feel a total shift in energy too. Because before it was more like I'm on the outside, I'm interacting with my personality and your personality. And then that was just a moment. It just took a moment just to go in and be calm and just feel that spirit connection, you know,
Exactly.
and then it's a swelling up of pure joy and really just being happy. That is
Yes.
so beautiful.
It's also to really indicates where you are in that moment. I'm not going to say on your journey because we all have different journeys, but in that moment when you're able to fully accept those words, they can actually be very, very overwhelming, even because you are making, like you said, a spiritual connection with you, with yourself. So potent. Yeah.
It is, and it makes me go back to that comparison thing. I mean, we were made exactly the way we're supposed to be and unique. And we are going to reach people because of our uniqueness, our energy. It doesn't matter how polished or not polished we are or how we look. It's an energetic thing.
Very much so.
Yeah. I love that. I talk about sometimes that lack is a man-made concept.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't exist in nature, and it definitely doesn't exist in the cosmos. In God, in Gus, I have a friend taught me the word Gus, God, universe, spirit.
I
You
love
know,
that.
it's the only place it exists is in the mind of man on this planet, in this personality, in this ego that we have. So
Oh, Lord.
yeah, I know, right? Oh, It's such an exciting time to be alive. COVID turned out to be, the silver lining in COVID. I believe in silver linings, been that way since I was very young. And that it's brought us, you and me, here today in this moment. If everything didn't happen exactly the way it needed to or was supposed to in our own personal journey, I don't know that you and I would be having this discussion right now.
I love that you brought up COVID because I was literally earlier today thinking about COVID and the reason why I'm doing this today. And it is that, like we think that all these things are happening to us when in the reality of it is that we are actually being given these beautiful opportunities. And that's what happened with COVID. Like so many people think that it was at them and that the world was destroyed and all this thing. And yes, there are definitely some things that could use a little bit of buffering and shining up. However, the truth of it is we got to experience some things in a whole new manner. It brought back family connections. I know that I personally switched gears. I was running a course at that time. I said, you know what, guys, we just got to take a hiatus, maybe for about a month. And I literally opened up my schedule so that I could do a support call for people. And that support call is still running today. And I have people reaching out and asking about the support call because they're hearing the replays. And this is the type of thing, we're together in this, we're supporting one another in this. And there's a reason why you had to mention COVID and I had to think about it today, right? It's just so wild.
And another thing that it made me think of is the word catapult. It's been coming up a lot lately, and it's almost like when the negative is being pulled so tight, when it finally opens up, it spring forwards you so fast into the future, something amazing that you couldn't even conceive. It's almost like you had to be squeezed so tight before, and then it's like, oh shit, here we go. What's happening? And the other thing that comes to mind for me is I'm an introvert. And I go through different degrees of introvert. And obviously what would make common sense is when I first loved my husband, when I first lost my husband, it was a time to go within. But then it became a habit. And then I realized I was becoming extreme. And and then the universe was providing me opportunities. It was happening for me, not to me, to come out. And now next thing I know, I'm doing this international women's empowered network, these interviews and meeting beautiful people like you, and bringing it into balance. So what would you say to somebody who maybe is really struggling with who they are and what has happened to them?
I really caught the word catapult because I think your use of it in this conversation is very powerful. And in those moments when we think that all this stuff is happening around us, to us, whatever the case is, that is the catapult moment that's beginning to occur, where we're going to bust loose, and we're going to bust loose, and it's actually is our choice on whether we want to bust loose and go, holy cow, wow, did I ever learn a lot from that? And I want to tell people my story, not whine about my story, but tell people my story so they can see the lessons that I've learned and ideally learn lessons. Or we can spiral down, as you said, create those habits that are getting us stuck and mired. And so the question that I heard you say was, what would you tell somebody? What was the question?
What would you tell somebody who maybe is really feeling stuck and in a dark place right now and don't really, have very much esteem for themselves, can't even use the word love?
Thank you so much. We've often heard the phrase, fake it till we make it. And it may not be a phrase that we want to hear, and it may not even be an accepted phrase. However, I know that when I started to say the I am love mantra to myself, I didn't love myself, but I faithfully kept saying it on a daily basis, morning and evening. And the amount that I love myself now versus where I was when I didn't, what is night and day. It truly is. So when you hear something that feels like it might be a lifeline, feels like it's okay, that's something that's simple that I can do because it, like I said, it's the very simplest of things that are the life-changing things. Us breathing our way through that I am love mantra, what was that, 45 seconds? If we can make a commitment to ourselves to do a 45-second mantra at least once a day, I'm guaranteeing you that that will change your life because you will start to recognize where in there. Well, um, and let me tell you the story about it. It actually only started out with 3 or 4 lines. And it started with I am love, I am loved, I am loving, and I love me. One of my clients said, you know what? Don't feel very lovable. And so we brought that line in and stayed in the energy of that for the next, I think it was almost a year and a half, even longer than that, before the I love myself. I at the beginning of 1 year, I realized that, you know what, I love me, but I don't know that I love myself. And maybe that's a line that should be in there as well. And when that line came in, it felt like it rounded out that whole mantra and just brought it, like you said, to a whole different power of love, of recognizing, like you said, it was outside and then it came inside. It brought that love inside in a whole different manner. And that's what I would tell somebody who is struggling right now is either go back and listen to this I am love mantra, or in the comments reach out to me and I will send you a photo of it. I actually have these mailed out all over the world. It's the mantra card is what I call it. They have both sides of the mantra because the other side is I'm open with no expectations, no limitations, which is very empowering as well too. So yeah.
That is beautiful. Yeah, my mantra to myself is I deeply and completely love and accept myself, warts and all,
Mhm.
because we're imperfectly perfect. We're exactly who we need to be, who we were created to be. And when you can embrace that and embrace even all those, what you might label as horrible or terrible things in your life that it almost to me was like a gift that it brought me into myself. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, very much.
The other thing that I was reminded of before we came on too was that you were talking about is how we as humans like to complicate things,
Mm.
and how simple this is, and that it can be simple.
And I want to speak to that for just a moment. Um, the human mind is so very, very intricate. I mean, we've all heard, or if you haven't heard it now, you're hearing it. If you haven't heard it before, you're hearing it now. That the mind, we probably only use 25% or maybe even less than that of the mind. So if we're not using that, what's in all the rest of that, right? And I'm not talking gray matter. I'm talking about wow, like the cosmic energy, whatever it is, right? And the thing is it's in the simplicity of things, like how we connect with our guides, how we take a breath, whatever we're doing. People complicate things by thinking you got to set up huge ceremonies in some case. And I'm not belittling ceremonies because I do ceremonies. Okay, it's just that sometimes it is way quicker to stop on say the single track trail that I happen to be on mountain biking, or you're walking down the city street, whatever it is, and you just stop for a minute and go, you know what, I'm just going to touch base and I'm going to walk my way through my chakras. And even in just stopping and saying the word of the chakra and each of those chakras, you are in ceremony. So recognize these little moments that you're doing for yourself. It can be so very simple. When I talk about connecting with your guides, I simply go, I'd like to connect to, and I say who it is that I want to connect to, and I am connected. There it is, right?
That's simple.
That's right.
Ask and it is given.
Very much so. Very
It
much.
is that, I could spend all day talking to you easily. And I love how you share. It's so beautiful and simplistic, and yet it's at the heart of the matter.
Thank you.
So is there any parting words of wisdom that come to mind that you would like to share with the group?
Know that I see you. Know that I see the incredible you in you, and that's what other people are seeing as well. When they're saying something nice to you about you, or saying something nice about you to others, grab a hold of that and start to live that, because that's who you are. You're just not living it yet. You're just not seeing it yet. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being here. And thank you, Sandra, for being with us. And we will be sure to put above this interview, as I always say, any and every way that we can connect with Sandra, so that if you resonated with what she said today and you want to get in touch with her, we'll make sure there's a way that you can do that. Thank you so much, Sandra.
Thank you.